We say congratulations to them and wish them the very best. From there, let's head to the nation's capital, Abuja, for the book launch organized by the General Ibrahim Attahiru Foundation on the life and times of the late Chief of Army Staff, General Attahiru, who died alongside other officers in the ill-fated aircraft that crashed close to the Kaduna airport back in May 2021.
The General Ibrahim Attahiru Foundation, a non-governmental organization, has launched a book on the life of the former Chief of Army Staff. Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru died in a plane crash in May last year while on active duty, 4 months into his tenure. One year after his death, family and friends of Nigeria's 21st Chief of Army Staff gathered to celebrate his legacy with the launch of a foundation in his honor. The inauguration witnessed a large gathering of well-wishers and supporters, including Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, renowned environmentalist Dr. Newton Jibono, former Minister of the Interior General Abdurrahman Dambazau, members of the Diplomatic Corps, wife of the Chief of Defense Staff Mrs. Anwuli Irabo, and senior military officers. The late General Attahiru, alongside other officers, died in a crash close to the Kaduna airport in 2021.
His usually busy schedule and realizing that the family time is invaluable to the children, he made time to be with the family. He loved to return to work on his numerous travels to meet his wife and daughter sitting in the living room. His wife knew that he cherished that, and he will always ensure that the whole clan was sitting and waiting for Daddy every evening. Iman, the youngest lady of the house, loved to open the front door for him, and as soon as the gate swung open, the little lady would take her position, open the door on cue, and fly into her father's arms with the warmest welcome ever. It was always a sweet thing to behold.
The wife of the late Army Chief, Mrs. Fati Attahiru, is the brain behind the foundation.
It is truly not how long you live, but how well. As evidently my dear husband made his mark and will continue to, through the impact this foundation intends to make. Yes, the General Ibrahim Attahiru Foundation was born out of the need to uphold his ideals and principles, but more importantly, for my 3 little girls and young Nigerians to have the will to proudly serve their country with all their might, like he did, and believe that their labor shall never be in vain.
Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka leads the tribute for the late Chief of Army Staff.
Those of you who read my memoirs, You Must Set Forth at Dawn, will surely recollect my account of the circumstances that brought Ibrahim and me together and resulted in a remarkable bonding. That friendship did not go unnoticed, since it led to the late dictator Sani Abacha imposing on Ibrahim a special assignment. He was to track down this very speaker, a plane always at his disposal at short notice, in order to convey overtures of peace talks during a desperate phase in that dictator's misbegotten venture into power. I no longer recall how much detail of that episode I recounted, and you must set for that dawn, but I do testify that Ibrahim Alfa did catch up with me eventually in London, carried out his diplomatic mission in all seriousness, but with the aplomb and finesse of one endowed with a deep sense of humor. After which, having received the very answer that he expected, we both retired to the nearest wine bar in Bayswater. Perhaps the only difference in an imagined encounter with Attahiru in place of Alpha would have been that Attahiru would have sipped water or orange juice in place of wine.
A few years ago, Attahiru returned from a course and met me to exchange normal tit-a-tat we normally had with him. And I discovered that he has grown very tall in academy and the military profession. So I was amazed and asked him, Attahiru, what has come of you? He says, sir, I see every opportunity to attend any course that will enrich my professional knowledge. I said, well, you are now the teacher, and I would like to be your student. He says, no, sir. Once a teacher, always a teacher.
Then the special guest, Mrs. Anwuli Rabo, unveils a book written in his honor by public relations practitioner Mr. Nira Adedokun, titled The Man, the Soldier, the Patriot.
I didn't know General Attahiru beyond what I read about him in the media, until his passing. But by the time I started doing the book, I discovered that it was indeed a true Nigerian hero whose life inspired, a lot of people. And I find it a privilege to have been invited to document his life in such a way that everyone who reads should find some inspiration.